Welcome to Masechet Rosh Hashanah. Masechet Rosh Hashanah is found in Seder Moed, which is the section of Mishnayot which deal with Shabbat and the Chagim. Today we're going to learn the first Mishnah in Masechet Rosh Hashanah. The first Mishnah in Masechet Rosh Hashanah tells us, Arba'ah Rosh Hashanim Haim. There are 4 times during the year that the Mishnah says that we call it Rosh Hashanah. Be'echad b'Nisan Rosh Hashanah lamelachim v'laregalim. The first time is Rosh Chodesh Nisan, where the Mishnah tells us that it's called Rosh Hashanah for the kings, as well as Rosh Hashanah for the Chagim. What that means is that they used to date the documents based on the year of the king. In order to avoid any confusion, the king, no matter when he became king, once Rosh Chodesh Nisan came, automatically it meant that that was the second year. Similarly, if a person made a neder, which is a very strong promise, to give a korban to the Beit HaMikdash, the halacha was that he had 3 chagim, and before it was an aveira for him not bringing the korban. The Mishnah tells us that before a person commits an Aveira, there has to be the passing of 3 regalim, Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot, in that order. And that's what it means when it says that Nisan is Rosh Hashanah regalim. The second type of Rosh Hashanah is Rosh Chodesh Elul. In the time of the Beit HaMikdash, they used to be a requirement that every 10 animals that were born in your flock had to be brought, one in every 10 had to be brought to the Beit HaMikdash. The halacha was also that what was called maaser was a yearly tax. So the cutoff point for this tax was, according to the Tanna Kama, was Rosh Chodesh Elul, meaning an animal that was born before Rosh Chodesh Elul was given for maaser for this year. Anything after Rosh Chodesh Elul would be Meiser next year. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon Omrim be'echad b'Tishrei. However, Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Shimon argue and say no, the date for Maaseh Behema is Aleph Tishrei, which is what we celebrate as Rosh Hashanah, meaning that any animal born before Aleph Tishrei is this year's Meiser. Any animal born after Aleph Tishrei is next year's Meiser. The third time of the year that's called Rosh Hashanah is what we call Rosh Hashanah. Be'echa, b'tishrei, Rosh Hashanah, l'shanim, v'l'shmitim, v'l'yovlos, l'netiya, u'li'urakos. The first of Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah for the years, for Shemitah, Yovel, for planting, and for vegetables. What does that mean? So we know that a Shemitah year comes once in 7 years. And as the picture indicates to us, it has to do with the field. The field is not allowed to be worked in a regular way. Only maintenance is allowed to be done on the field. Otherwise, the field is left alone. It's like Shabbos for the field. Now, when does the Shemitah year begin? On Aleph Tishrei, on Rosh Hashanah. Yovel is once in 50 years, very similar to a Shemitah year. That also begins on Aleph Tishrei. The other halacha that Aleph Tishrei is important is that if somebody plants a fruit tree. So somebody plants a fruit tree, so the halacha is that they're not allowed to eat from the fruit during the first 3 years. So the halacha was that as long as you planted 45 days before Rosh Hashanah, meaning that was the time that it took to allow the fruits to take root. So as long as that happened, then when Rosh Hashanah, Aleph Tishrei came, it was already considered the second year for Orla, meaning now you just had 2 more years before you were allowed to eat from the fruit of the tree. The third area is the Yerokah. What are Yerokah? Are vegetables. So again, going back to our halacha of Maaser. Maaser can only be given this year for this year, next year for next year. So any vegetables that grew before Rosh Chodesh Tishrei, meaning Aleph Tishrei, was considered last year's of vegetables, and therefore Maaser was given based on last year. Anything after it is considered next year. The final example of Rosh Hashanah in a Mishnah is Be'echad B'Shvat Rosh Hashanah Li'ilan, Kedivrei Beis Shammai. Beis Hillel Omrim B'Chamisha Asar Bo. Tu B'Shvat. So it's a machloket between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. When the fruit on the tree grow, also you have to give meiser. So what is the cutoff point for the fruits on the tree? So according to Beis Shammai, any fruit that grew before Rosh Chodesh Shvat is considered last year's fruit, and meiser was given based on last year. Anything after that will be considered next year. Beis Hillel argues and says no. Tu B'Shvat is the cutoff point. Anything that grew before Tu B'Shvat is last year. Anything after that will be considered next year. Those are the 4 examples of what the Mishnah calls Arba'ah Rosh Hashanah.